Isn't it louder? But do it feel the same? We're making easier on you now. You got someone to blame. You say, one life, just one need, and the night. Water, you got your share. Kiss you, baby, feel so heaven. Did I disappoint you? Living without tasting her house. You act like I never had love. You want me to go without. Where it's too late tonight. I'll try to pass out into the light. We're one, but we're not the same. Yes, we carry each other, carry each other. And we come for forgiveness. And we come to raise the day. And we come here to play Jesus. And the lepers in your head. To the asking more down the line. We give me nothing else. Go like we're one, but we're not the same. Well, we love each other now until they can. You say love is a temple, love and high love. Love is a temple, love and high love. But I have to be who answer, but I have to make me crawl. I can't hold it all. You want to die. You want where God is hurt. One love, one blood, one life. You got the two ones to share. One life, wake me together. Your sister, brother. One life, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other. One.
What's up, peeps? How are we tonight? Video I did, I had to redo it because I had a typo in there, so I redid it a little bit. And Still working with the sound and the audio. Like the first one, I thought I had it turned down enough with the interview with the audio, but I'm getting better. I was looking at some old videos I did, and they were I'm in nowhere near some of the good creators videos, but better than I used to be. A lot of good information, I think, tonight, guys. Give you my perspective on things. You probably know most of it, but I kind of have the reasonings why I think what I think. But let's get in and say hi to everyone. Deb, what is up? Just Deb, mother of all dragons. Freckle Joy, Jill, Mendy Harris. How's everyone doing? Olivia, Miranda Lee is here. Hybrid Pisces is here. Deja Vu, Iron House, Iron City House Rockers. I just told somebody on, I forget who, it was one of the big YouTube channels. He was trying beer. He was from a different country. I said, try Iron City. And someone commented, you'll never drink beer again. I said, well, I didn't say it was good. Iron City is a Pittsburgh beer. I had a couple buddies who drank like Icy Light, but not very good in my opinion. So I'm going to lay out some things tonight. And I have a couple videos, a couple screenshots of things that I like to show you. And a lot of it's from very early on, because whenever you get, in a situation like everyone's in right now, no matter what you think's happening or what you think Richard Allen, guilty, not guilty, acted alone, didn't act alone, Odinist, whatever you think, right now is a time of big turmoil with everything that's going on. What happened with the resignation of Richard Allen's defense team, whatever played into that. I don't know a lot about court. I'm not going to talk a lot about what I think went on behind the scenes. Did the judge say you're going to get sanctioned, disbarred? Who knows what? I found out she had the right to do pretty much anything, but it was probably going to be highly unlikely that there was going to be any kind of disbarment. It could have been sanctioned, but whatever the case may be, tonight I'm going to open and close with this. For me, and I put it in my video, and I think it's very important because we are, almost coming up on 7 years in this investigation so far. And there are still people that think that the family's involved. And for me, that's a no-go. It's been 7 years and there's been no proof. 7 years and there's no proof. Now, keep in mind, the Franks motion, the Odinist theory, whether you believe it or not, you have to admit it's kind of a far-fetched theory. It's a very sensational theory. It's not a standard thing that you see. It would be, obviously more than extremely rare, but okay. All right. The defense never brought up one thing about the family, saying the family did this or the family did that. So if the way I look at it is the Odinist theory is a reach. So if you're going to reach to that level, but you're not going to include the family, then the family's not involved. They're just not involved. I mean, law enforcement looks at them first and foremost. You have to look at the victimology. You have to look, not necessarily the victimology, but the relatives of the victims. Did anyone have a reason? You have to work from them out. You get information from them. You rule them out. You do whatever you do. But I mean, to this day, I there's videos and there's creators that still, well, the family, no. And if you have proof, I'll shut up. Produce it. There's been none, zero. Not produced by anyone, not produced by the defense, the prosecution, any investigative journalist, any YouTuber, anyone on any platform has ever produced any proof that the family is involved. We know law enforcement investigated them a lot. Well, maybe we don't know that. I think that I do. I mean, people don't know that, but they're always looked at. They're looked at extremely closely. And the other thing that I don't understand that people, when they attack the families, they're making all this money off this. What money are they making off of this? Do you think that somehow, some way they're making money off a ballpark, off a softball park? I mean, I coached baseball for many years. I was in a lot of tournaments. People that ran organizations might make some money, but to own a park, I don't know. I don't see it. But again, if there's any proof of any of that, produce it. And if any of these people had any proof of any of that, they would have produced it years ago. So my email, everyone knows it, kevlar148hotmail.com. You have something? I'm wrong. It's not impossible still, but I mean, come on. You know, it's going to be 99.999% likelihood that they're just not. They're not. No one there is involved. Okay. I wish we could put that to bed and move on and just argue if Richard Allen's guilty or not. Right. That's a good true crime conversation. You know, I mean, God, you're going to have to drop it eventually. Unfortunately, what I'm talking about later, people were never going to drop that. Never. And that's a thing that I think, psychologically speaking, on the leaks themselves, I'd like to cover this real quick. And I think I have a really good perspective. And I watched a lot, obviously. I watched a lot of videos that guys had. Sleuth had one really good one with Fig on it. The Prosecutors podcast, which I'm going to share you a brief snippet of one of their things when they talked about the Franks motion. And I highly recommend that you subscribe to them. I don't know if it's Sleuth or I think Fig maybe has one of them on coming up. I don't know if anyone likes his channel or not, but he had his cousin was actually murdered, and he helped investigate through that. He got into a business. He does like a solution solving thing, and very interesting guy, I think. And he does this work, but he got sucked in for a personal reason. He said he came across Delphi. He was looking up stuff about his cousin, and that's how he got into it. So we all have our story. That'd be one episode. That'd be a good episode. How the hell did we all get here? How did we get into Delphi? Because I know every single one of you had a story. You know, I was looking up this or that, and then this came, and that's how I got here too. But let me talk real quick about this, and then I'll get back into the chat. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything, and anyone coming in or any questions that anyone has here. So this is just specific to the leaks and how they came out. Okay, the leaks came out from the defense's side, right? And how do we know this? Well, we know for almost 7 years that the prosecution had all this evidence, and none of it leaked out. You know, you heard stories, you heard this and that, none of it leaked out. The main reason is because the defense told us. They told us where the leak came from. You know, the big shot attorney came in from Indy. He filed his brief, and he said, yeah, it did come from the defense, but we were snookered. Snookered. Well, I don't know if that's a legal term or not. Hoodwinked. Maybe he could have used a word like that. You know, I don't know. But so, yes, so that there shouldn't be any disputing where the leaks came from. They came from the defense. I mean, that's the defense said that. Okay. I know there's people that are disputing that the defense didn't, the prosecution somehow. It just didn't happen. There's no room for error. There's no gray area there. We know where they came from. We have all the evidence to back it up. Then you read the filing that the attorney made for Baldwin, for Richard Allen's former attorney. He said, yeah, they came from us. We were snookered by this guy. And by now, everyone knows the guy's name, I'm sure. I'm not going to say it here. What I don't know is his motive for it. I don't know. I don't want to say if he wants to propose or push out the Odinist theory. I think that maybe, but I don't know that. So that's all speculative. But let me continue on if I may here. The pictures that people got. Okay, the pictures that people got. I didn't get any pictures. I don't feel left out. I'm totally okay with not getting pictures because if I would have gotten one or two pictures, that wouldn't have helped me. I don't think so. I think that you have a puzzle piece there where hundreds or maybe thousands of pictures are taken of that crime scene. And if you have two pictures or two pieces of that puzzle, I don't know how much you can put together or what context you're taking it in or what angle did you have. From what I understand, people got different pictures, different angles, different this, different that. So we don't know what part of the crime scene processing was so-and-so's, whoever this creator's was, his picture opposed to these other creators' picture. And I know a lot of these guys are saying, look, we can definitively say this, we can definitively say that. I didn't see the pictures. And in my opinion, no one could definitively say anything about one or two pictures when there was hundreds or thousands taken. Again, I didn't see them. So maybe I'm missing something, or maybe it's kind of like you have to see it to understand it. And now that's possible. It's absolutely possible. But understand something. You have one piece of 1,000-piece puzzle or two pieces of 1,000-piece puzzle. So, I'd heard a lot of the creators that saw it said there was no leaves around. Well, there was no leaves. So David Erskine was wrong. Well, you know, the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Because if there was leaves on the girls, they were taken. They were analyzed and they were taken. They were processed. So maybe you got pictures after they took the leaves off. Or I don't know. Maybe they blew away. Maybe they weren't there. But it doesn't 100% mean that there wasn't leaves there. Drag marks and stuff like that. People didn't see drag marks. I don't know how big of an area they saw or whatever. But I guess from what I understand, some of them saw a decent sized area. And listen, I don't think any of the creators are lying or making anything up that saw the pictures. The ones that we know that saw the pictures. There's other ones that say they got pictures and we know who they are. We know that they didn't get them. But I don't think any of these guys or gals are lying. I think they're telling you what they saw. But isn't it interesting that if they saw the same pictures or the same crime scene, that they see two totally different things? So at the end of the day, none of us can trust what anyone else sees. It's kind of like we're probably never going to see these. And for people to say we're going to see these in court, we're never going to see these in court. They're not going to show these pictures in court. If this is on television, when the pictures are up, you're not going to see them. The jury's going to see them. They're not going to have these pictures in these big giant things in a courtroom. I don't think that that's just going to happen. So at the end of the day, you know, and there's people that say we see these pictures and you can't unsee them. So I don't know. People ask honestly, if someone sent it to me and I opened up an email and I saw what it was, I would look at them and I would say, are these even real? Is this what happened? But look at everyone's different interpretation of the pictures, whether they got the same pictures or the crime. It's the same crime scene and they see different things. So from the human brain study and the human psychology study, that's hugely interesting to me. Everything that I do here, I sidebar with like profiling stuff like, you know, how does this work? Why is this person pushing this theory? Why is this person pushing that theory? And then I try to look and try to figure out, okay, maybe if that makes sense or not. But anyways, a couple more things here and I will get to our comments. I see a lot of people are commenting, which is awesome. So again, when were the pictures taken? Were they taken at the very end of the processing, at the beginning? So we don't know. So for people to say David Erskine was wrong, you can't say that unless you're on the prosecution team. And I don't know anyone on YouTube that's on a prosecution team. And I'm going to get to them again momentarily here. Barbara McDonald through Fig has said that the F-tree picture that they all thought it was fake initially because the picture that they have or that they saw is this actually the same picture, but there was some work done to it, some clarification work or to make it appear to be more like an F. They cleaned it up somehow. They changed some settings in it. I don't know about the photo stuff, but again, I'll reference back his interview with Sleuth. He explains it a lot better to me if you want to see that. And that's why she said that's not the same picture, but in reality it was, but it was just, you know, it looked like it was taken at night too, which was odd. And the other thing that a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, from what I've seen, probably half the people said they've seen antlers, half the people saying they haven't seen antlers. Why are antlers important? Why are antlers important? Antlers are important for the Odinist theory, for the Brad Holder theory, because the antlers leak Elvis Fields. Elvis Fields said he placed antlers. Okay, that's what he told his sister. That is the direct link that supposedly he knew about the crime scene. And that's what they're saying it was. But there's some people that have said that they see antlers, that they don't see antlers. Again, everyone looks at a picture and has a different interpretation of it. So, you know, and I don't think anyone's lying. I think they're really telling you what they're seeing. But maybe we're seeing these pictures, and even maybe I would see these pictures with jaded eyes. You know, maybe I would too. I don't know. But let me catch up in the chat before we go into our next thing that I have. And like I said, I have quite a few multimedia things to show you tonight. Bossy, what's up? Any comments for here? We'll find something. All right. I read a decent comment. Yeah, I have a Discord. It's not as big as like RegCord or anything, or I'm in Rick Snae's Discord. His act blew up along with his subscriptions. I'm in Ruckus's Discord. I'm actually in a couple other people in this chat's Discord. Yeah, I put different stuff up. You know, I got to expand a little bit more. Hi. as I always say. What's up, Boston Christian? How are you? I'm getting to some questions here or some comments that people have made thus far. What's up, Sandy? Grace says he's not guilty. Richard Allen. Definitely an opinion. Like I have mine, and that's totally fine with it. Miranda, I agree with the family thing. I don't see it anymore. Like I never saw it, but we would have known if it was them. I mean, it's just, and again, if they're not putting that into Frank's motion, you know what I mean? You would think that they kind of really were throwing whatever they could in there. Well, at least that's what I think. So they supposedly were the only leaked crime scene photo. Yeah, as far as I know, Olivia, I don't know of any other thing. Like we didn't even know about the bullet. You know, like how are these bumbling law enforcement, like Kerry Mahoney dudes, keeping all this shit under wraps? Well, maybe they just appear to be bumbling. Because they do appear to be bumbling a little bit, but maybe I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, crazy like a fox or anything like that. But Frosty, what's up? And the more that you're hearing things, like they DNA tested anyone that got turned in. I'm gonna talk about DNA testing later, but they were thorough. And you're hearing that from all angles. You're hearing that from Westfall. You're hearing that from other people that they actually got DNA tests on. Different things like that. So. I have a little bit to talk about Westfall, not a whole lot here. I jumped up there. Yeah, we could agree on that. And I think that I can't remember what channel I was watching, but someone put up really good when the attorneys resigned, whatever. It was like the balloon was deflated from whatever side that if you believed Allen was guilty or not. Because we all knew to set us back, set everyone back, the families back a year and a half. So what's up, Mark? Mark, a good guy, trucker. As a union president with Local 10, I stand with you and your comrades there, Mark, and hope the people quit taking you guys and gals for granted. Yeah. That was was that the, I don't know if that was, I don't want to speak out of turn if that was Zav girl that had that, but yeah. And you know what? Eventually they're going to make their way to, if people electronically share them, you can't tell me that one person doesn't still have a copy or two of that, and they're going to end up somewhere. And that story's yet to be written, how that worked and what was going on there. And that is a story unto itself. And I don't know enough about it. I know a little bit about it. And I know that there's other creators that have named the guy's name, the reporter's name. And, but I don't think the angle he's walking down with the reporter is correct. I think it's another way, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I don't have the data on that. I have friends that have a lot of data on that, but everyone's it's Delphi-esque. If that's even a word, it's something that would happen on the Delphi case. Unfortunately, Cindy, how are you? All right, everybody's saying hi. Cal Renner. Was that the guy, the citizen, or are you saying that would be like the crime scene tech or whatever his name? I think the citizen. I think you're saying. I think that's who that is. I've heard that name before. I could be mistaken though, Grace. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Kyle. Yeah, Renner's the name I remembered. If that was the guy who took the picture of the clothes in the creek. Dave, what's up, Dave? How are you? The magic bullet. Mendy, there's only one magic bullet. Whatever you believe about Delphi, the Kennedy bullet blows it out of the water. It blows it out of the water. If anybody knows the magic bullet. But I get your reference, and that's a good reference there. Well, while we're on the bullet, let's talk about the bullet. I know that there's people that say the bullet was found weeks later. I don't believe it was. I believe it's more than likely it's probably in some of those crime scene photos. Now, if people want to challenge the providence of it, we removed it from the ground, didn't take pictures. I don't know how people know that either, but it seems to be out there. So someone probably leaked that possibly. But where did anyone ever say they found it weeks later? Is that actually been documented or written anywhere? Now, look, I'm not saying that law enforcement say it, because they're probably not going to say it necessarily. But I don't know. I think we might find out that the bullet was there, and it was maybe not covered or maybe not visible. And I could see the avenue that people might walk down to say, well, the bullet was there and it was visible, then they put it there on purpose, which it's not crazy to think that way, guys. I mean, people, they go off the beaten path and people start losing their minds and like, wait a minute, think outside the box, follow them a little bit, see where they're going with it. As long as you're not taking me to the family, I'll listen to you. And as long as it's not a hectagonal 20-person law enforcement conspiracy, I'll listen to you. I'm with you. But those two things, I can't see it. But again, you guys have my email, or anyone wants to comment. I would love to hear from you. And so people say that Richard Allen was framed. So Richard Allen was framed. It took him 6 years to work this frame job. If you think he's framed from the beginning, but maybe you think he just got framed because, hey, we need to put someone in, we need to vote. We need to get this guy in for an election. And let me tell you something. Politicians have done a lot worse than this to win an election. And if they did this to win an election, it's absolutely horrible. Horrible. But politicians have done worse. So I'm open ears to you there. But here's what I think about it. In order for this to have worked, you would have had to start laying this trap 6 years ago. So 6 years ago, did you know you were going to frame Richard Allen? Did you know this was going to walk up like this? Because everything that people were referencing that he was framed by, Dolan's report, that was 6 years ago. So Dolan would have had to know 6 years ago, hey, we're going to frame this mope Richard Allen who works down at the drugstore because he's a mope and no one will believe him, would shove it up his ass, right? Because everything you're going back on now says you're pointing at him, you're pointing at him. So he would have to have known when he took that interview 6 years ago that sometime in the future, we're going to jam this guy up, okay? Why would you pick Richard Allen to frame? As far as we know, he has no record of violence against women. And that's what we're looking for here, in my opinion. We're looking for someone who has violence against women, hatred of women, something against women. One of the things that tears at me, because I do think Richard Allen is guilty, but I don't think he's alone. One of the things that tears at me is he doesn't have that history. And whoever committed this crime, I don't think there's any way they didn't have that history. You could talk, maybe there was a psychotic episode. A person had a psychotic episode, lost their minds, did this. They wouldn't have gotten away for 6 years. They'd have found them down on the Hoosier Heartland Highway with no shirt on, covered in blood. Like, what happened? So I can't, that's something that's tough for me I'm definitely not going to say I'm 100% sure he's guilty, because I'm not. I'm going to wait to see what the jury says and everything else that comes out. But I think he is right now. Yeah. I would say maybe if you had to give me a percentage, I'd say 70 to 75%, which maybe some people think is a lot. Other people think, oh, Coach Kev, I thought you had him in the 90s, but I'm not sure if he's bridge guy, man. I don't have the eyes to tell. And I'm just being honest with you. I don't have the eyes to tell. The mannerism, yeah, but I just don't know. But let me continue on here with this a little bit more, and you can kind of maybe know where I'm going with it. No record. So why would you frame him? Why wouldn't you frame Brad Holder or Westfall or some of these other yahoos, racists that are running around there, and just don't tell anyone they're racist, because they have records. A lot of them, not all of them. They have violence against women. Violence against women. This is what you're looking for. And they have it, right? Even if you're going the Ron Logan route. Ron Logan has violence against women. This is something you're looking for. Now, you think you'd have killed someone before age 70. You would think Richard Allen, he would have killed before age 43 or whatever it was, 40, I forget whatever age he was. Yeah, you would think that. Maybe they did, and we don't know. I don't know. But to just think of that, though. And that's, just to get your brain rolling anywhere. If you're going to frame someone, how would you come upon Richard Allen? There's so many more. I mean, we hear so many names. There's a whole cast of motherfuckers out there that would be frameable into the average person. But I could see him doing that because he's fucking crazy or whatever the case may be. So I don't see it with them. And whenever they were working that, they're working that Odinist angle, and I did very little research on Odinism in my entire life until this happened. I maybe did 10 minutes of research. I remember some in high school we did, but it was more Greek god type stuff than how the theory started or religion started, more how they practice. What I could find, the last human sacrifice done by Odinists was in the 13th century. If someone else has one, you can send it to me. I couldn't find human sacrifice. The other problem, no one saw any of them there. No one saw any of them there. No one saw Brad Holder. No one saw his kid. No one saw anyone. Now, could they have been there and anyone saw them? Sure, that's possible. I've seen people share a sketch that some people says maybe this is Elvis, maybe this is this, maybe this was that. I don't know. I think it kind of looks like someone else whose house was searched, but that's just my opinion. But at least it looks like a real sketch, not like Old Bridge Guy. That's not a real sketch. I don't know what kind of drawing that is. That's like you go on a boardwalk and in the summer and someone draws your picture. Like that's what that looks like. But again, no one saw these people. Holder on camera leaving his work in a truck. Could someone be driving it? Sure. Again, but you're talking a 20-person conspiracy with cops, with these guys that are Odinist or true or however you say that. And no disrespect to any of these people, but how they're going to carry off a 20+ person conspiracy, this is what's being proposed. And then people go further and to say, that the judge in this, they made him remove the defense. You got to count about 5, maybe 7 more people. So it's just that, to me, that part of it, it just doesn't fly. It flies in the face of logic. But if anyone has any proof, saw the proof, show it. Not just a set of a set of events or a set of coincidences, whatever Judge Gall said. She used those terms. But let's see what you guys think here. Disappointed. Yeah. So that was the same one. January trial. Yeah. I've heard a couple of different lawyer people with podcasts. They were saying that probably the end of next year to beginning of the following year, maybe. But they put it November of next year till summer is what they thought if this went to trial and everything went through, because you're going to have to go through all these quote unquote motions again, no pun intended. So Freckle Joy, the answer to that question is, oh, yeah. I know quite a bit about his little brother. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Quite a bit. We'll leave that there. Hi. Seemed to me the families or the prosecution weren't too upset with what happened. On the other hand, yeah. Well, I think that you're hearing, and I don't know if you follow or Becky Patty on Facebook, but they're very upset. Yeah, I've seen people say they're not upset. I think they're very upset. I think everyone's upset. Like I thought that even more. We were doing that live with Ruckus and Miss Persevere. I was on there. And we were reading the comments and stuff, guys were putting it up and gals were putting it up. It like took the air out of all of us. And it was just like, we expected something to happen. We expected something crazy to happen, but no one expected that because that sets everything back. If Richard Allen's an innocent man, he's going to sit another 1.5 years. If he's a guilty man, the families have to wait yet another 1.5 years for justice. His wife and mother, and I don't believe that they knew. It happens, when I do these serial killer studies that I do, and I'll get back to eventually, because that's really what brought me here. That's really my interest, the criminal brain and how people can get the way they get. A lot of the wives are clueless. They would have parts in different parts of the house or rooms that were off limits. Rex Heuermann, we're seeing that with him, and they just don't ask questions. And it's however you feel about them, they're victims here in a way too. Once we can officially rule them out, hey, they didn't know, they weren't covering up. It's tough. It's tough. And from what I can tell, Kathy Allen is not filed for divorce. Obviously, she's been at the hearings. There were some rumors of that, but people that I know, they're really good with the files, have said that is not up. But Rex Heuermann's wife did file for divorce almost immediately. So just to clear that up there. So if you knew that you were going to use Richard Allen, this is a 6-year setup, right? From Dolan on out. But how did you know he was going to call in? Or did you pick him when he called in? I don't know. And there's a lot of consternation about what did he wear? When did he say what he was wearing? If you go back and you kind of read his notes, I don't think Richard Allen told Dolan what he was wearing until the October interview of last year. I can't see anywhere what he said he was wearing. He just said he was there. He saw the other people that saw, him or whoever the hell that they saw, because there's some, back and forth there. And again, we don't know. We don't have their statements yet. Let me get into that right now. We don't have their statements yet. And the reason that we don't know these things, and when people tell you, people are coming, listen, there's no DNA, there's no this, there's no that. They could well very be right. But unless they are on the prosecution team, they don't know. Pure and simple, they don't know. And the defense team doesn't know. Right? We have a new defense team. It'll be interesting to see how much information gets leaked out with a new defense team. And I'm not talking about the lawyers. Okay? But anyways, I digress. November 1st is a deadline that they have to turn over all the discovery. So the defense doesn't have all the discovery. So for people to say there's no DNA, there's no this, there's no that, they don't know unless they are on the prosecution team. Now, November 1st comes and goes, and McClellan says, I don't have anything else to send you. We'll have a conversation then. Because then I'm going to be, coming to you guys like, you know what? They better do better than just this bullet, which isn't junk science. But it's not going to convict them just that. Let's be honest. It's not. They got to have a lot more. I believe they do have a lot more. I believe that they're holding back some of the big stuff, which is a lot to do in Indiana. You don't have to turn over the full discovery until 10 days before the trial. That's Indiana law. Unless a judge puts a deadline in, like Judge Gall did here, and says, instead of waiting till it would have been, probably the end of December, because you only count work days. So say maybe January or December 27th, they could have turned in the rest of the discovery for the January 22nd trial. And that's all the time they would have had. And they could have held back all the good shit. They're allowed to do that. Well, it seems ethical or not. And they could have dumped that on them and said, you got 10 days to sift through this. We'll see you at trial. That's Indiana law. But the Judge Gall said November 1st. And that's still a deadline. So they have to produce that evidence, whatever their discovery is. So what do they have in that discovery? Unless you're on the defense, unless you're on the prosecution team, you don't know. We don't know. I don't know. I have a couple guesses, but I don't know. You know why we don't know? Because the prosecution hasn't leaked shit. Whether you feel you like them or you don't like them, they've run a tight shop. Right? So we don't know. November 1st is the deadline. The defense does not have all of the discovery. So for people to say there's definitely no DNA, you can't say anything. Neither can I. I can't say that there is DNA. I think that there is, but I can't say that there is. But no one can say that there is not. November 1st. After November 1st, if there's nothing new that comes out, and I don't even know if we'll find out what they give them, or if the defense makes a motion and says, hey, listen, they gave us this stuff here, and look at this report. Now, there could be stuff that hurts the prosecution in there too, right? Maybe there'll be more Odinist stuff or whatever. That is absolutely 100% possible, but we don't know. No one knows. Probably 5 people know, and none of them are in this room, and none of them are on YouTube. So just keep that in mind. You have to keep an open mind to that point. Now, moving on with that idea, I will get back to the comments here, but I just want to go into something here. So before the November 1st deadline, if you watched in my video, I had from the search warrant from Allen's home, I had a couple of things like emblazoned there with the little bomb thing, and it was the 2 phones, the 2 Motorola flip phones that he had in a wicker basket wrapped in paper underneath his bed. Now, everyone's talking about the phones before. Hey, I have all these phones. All those phones were in a drawer. These 2 phones were by themselves in a wicker basket wrapped in paper underneath his bed in a place of prominence. What do you think's on there? Okay. What do you think's on there? Now, let me share a couple things with you. So give me 1 second, all right, folks? Because I want to share what I think's on there, and I want to show you why I think it's on there. Dum. Hold on, I got to take this one off first. And share a new one. Here we go. So let me get into my email and show you what I have to show you. Give me 1 second. It will be worth the wait. Let me see what we got. Make sure I got the right one. That is not it. But I will show you guys that too. That was explaining the sketch. Oh, I think we have it here. Hold on 1 second. Oh, we got to be able to do better than that. Wow. That is a bad one. Hold on a second. I can't even read that. The wonders of technology, folks. Okay. Let me make sure that we all can see that before I continue here. Like I've told you guys many times, I am the Barney Rubble of technology. Okay. So we've talked about the magazines, the one missing bullet, all interesting things. So we're down here. Sealed paper bag containing a paper-wrapped wooden weave box containing 2 audio Vox device, 1 silver Motorola flip phone, 1 silver Motorola flip. Basically 2 Motorola flip phones, okay? 4 car chargers, 3 wall outlets, chargers. So these 2 phones are placed in it's a place of prominence. It's a place of prominence. Sealed plastic bag consent with the memory card. I mean, I don't know if you really keep your memory cards in a sealed plastic bag by itself, but more importantly, again, the point that I want to stress to you is I think that something's in here. I think something's in those phones. I truly, truly do. Okay, let me go back here. I'm going to show you my next thing, because I have quite a few that I wanted to share with everyone today. Just general information here. There's been a lot of talk and questions about the sketch, where it came from. That didn't help us very much there because it made it too big. And I can't make this so we can read it, unfortunately, because it gets too big. I'll read it to you. The new sketch was actually created earlier than the old sketch, according to the Indy Star. Master Trooper Taylor Bryant, a sketch artist with the Indiana State Police, drew the new sketch, told the Indy Star a sketch was based on how a particular witness described the suspect. So that was a thing that I just wanted to share with you in case you didn't know. Bryant uses facial identification reference sheet. So the young guy sketch was actually the older of the 2 sketches. Indy Star is the source for that. I wasn't sure. We had talked about that on a previous one. Now I have a couple interesting screenshots here I'd like to show you. Becky just had this on her Facebook. This was a couple of days ago. This is when the attorneys quit. This is when the attorneys quit. And it's tough that a grandmother of a murdered, child is feeling like this. So yeah, not one of my favorite things to see. A couple things. These are old things that I was telling you I was going to bring up. These is old screenshots. So basically, we see people here and we see names blocked out and everything like that. But let me read these to you and tell me who you think they are. I answered a question yours earlier today. The witness that saw him leaving did not report the blue jacket. He only described the short-billed hat. He only described a short-billed hat, the scarf, or whatever it was over his lower face. When he saw Libby's face first pick, he was sure that that's who he saw. He spoke only twice about what he saw nearly 2 years ago. So did BG ditch some clothing. The early witness described him to LE saw Libby's picks, exactly the picks except the scarf. So what I'm going to show you, I'm pretty sure it's in the next picture. This is actually Becky Patty talking here and here. Okay, so stay with me for a second. I don't know if I just skipped the one back through there, which I didn't want to do. Basically, they kind of talk about the video, right? So where did I come up with my thing where I said the video, where I believe that, you know, there's a whole lot more talking going on? This is where it comes from here. And I wish against wishes that I could somehow. I don't want to get that big. Gotta be quick. There you go. Gotta be quick. Quicker. All right. We shrink us down a little bit and fix this up. Oh, goodness gracious. No more shrinking. We'll just read it. Promise this time. So this was being asked about when they talked about the entire video. There's, 43 seconds. But in my opinion, there's more audio than just the bridge. And the girls, taking pictures and stuff, they're out in nature. I think it's certainly reasonable that the girls are taking pictures and taking videos. But here we go. I just stumbled upon a post from about 10 weeks ago. This is very early on. This is sometime in 2017, early 2018. 10 weeks ago, I'm sure you're familiar with because you spoke up. My question is asking because I don't think there's ever been confirmed. Here we go. Ever been confirmed? Or maybe a rumor that the girls were ever speaking or mention a creepy guy. We've heard that before, haven't we? The creepy guy thing. I would like to put the rumor to rest. So were they mentioning a creepy guy? They're mentioning the creepy guy because they saw him earlier in their walk in the trail. And this is what I've theorized. And for reading things like this is where it comes from. Yes. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. This is the order that I want to show you guys. And this is where I get my idea of what could be on those phones. But at the very least, I can tell you that I'm fairly confident that CSAM is involved in this case. What does that mean? I don't know. I have theories about it, but here we go. 1 copy of the discovered material shall be provided for counsel. No additional copies of the discovered material shall be provided made by the defendant, defendant's counsel, investigator, expert, or any other representative or agent of the defendant for any reason. The discovered material shall not be used for any purpose other than to prepare for the defense in the above referenced case number. That discovery material shall fall not publicly exhibited, displayed, shown, used for educational research, nothing. So we're never going to see these photos, okay? Because they're just so bad. Hold on a second. We're just not going to see them. And maybe we shouldn't see them. I think I want to get back to my little deal here. Just wanted to show you a couple of things. Let me see what anyone has to say. There we go. What do we think about those things? I'm assuming that most of you are veterans, right, in the Delphi game. So you probably have seen a lot of what I just showed you. I'm assuming. I could be mistaken. But I've had those things for a while. I always like to go back and look at old interviews and old stuff because it just, I don't know. Maybe something you didn't see the first time, right? Okay, Grace. So, okay, that's who I thought he was then. I understand now. I get it. Yes. I didn't know if you were saying like the name of like one of the crime scene techs or something, but like I said, that That name has rang a bell. Would rather would not have heard that. But I tell you what, something happens, there ain't no protecting that motherfucker anymore. I don't know. Grace might know. Yeah, that's quite the coagulation of family there. And there was some, I tell you what, man, I don't know how much of you've covered Flora or have an interest in it or watched anything that anyone does. I do a lot of stuff. Meows, like really great. She has all ton of information on it. And a lot of people have done things on it. We had Flora Week. A lot of people pitched in and helped. I mean, Delphi, there's a lot of allegations being flown around. This guy lied, that guy lied, this one up. If that's what you like, investigate Flora. Because a lot of the things in Delphi that I believe people are saying that aren't true, I think they are true in Flora. Yeah. So I hope everybody, the way you attack Delphi, attack that Flora with the same passion, and we can get things done. Heard on a different channel that the Logan PC was different than the Allen one, contradicting info. Well, the Logan PC was written by Agent Roberts from the FBI, and the Allen PC was written by, well, I guess Liggett, right? Yeah, Tony Liggett. So you have Carroll County Sheriff's Department, and you have the FBI, and there was some kind of law enforcement scrape up at the beginning or at some point that happened there, and I can't explain that, and neither can they. That's not professional. I don't know if something got kicked out of town or something like that or whatever happened. I don't think Doug Carter kicked the FBI. I don't think Doug Carter has the power to kick anyone out. And you're going to say, well, he's a state superintendent. I get that. But chain of command wise, he popped his head out the box. So he's the figurehead now. He's the logo on their football helmet. He's not working day to day. He's not putting boots on the ground on criminals. He goes to things and stuff like that. But I believe that something happened early on. So yeah, I don't know if it contradicts itself. They're looking for a lot of the same things, but clearly investigatively, the FBI thought Ron Logan had something to do with it or something to do with it after the fact. I agree with you, Deb. I don't think it was a lone wolf either. I agree with you. I agree with you there. I think Olivia was answering the question of the Tribune reporter, Kyle, if I'm not mistaken. Great info from everyone tonight. Anklishly waiting to find out those tentacles. Should have never said that. Oh, no. I think that, yeah, Doug says some things, but I think that there are tentacles. And I just think we haven't seen them or we don't know what they are yet. Now, listen, they could have, in discovery, they could have given a ton of information that makes Richard Allen guilty. And the defense didn't leak it. We don't know about it. We're going to know about it in court or at some point or whatever. So even with that, I say a November 1st deadline, which they haven't turned everything over yet. They've admitted that. So we don't even know what they have. But the defense isn't going to give you all, if anything, that makes Richard Allen look bad. So when people say the evidence says this, we don't know what the evidence is yet. We could guesstimate it. We know some of it, but we don't know all of it. So that kind of makes it maddening a little bit for all creators and all the people to cover Delphi. It's like, we're invested in this. Whether you agree with me or the next guy or to nobody, or you have your own theory that no one buys into, you've invested time into that. So it's, yeah, it's tough. All right, let me go into a couple other things here, ladies and gents. Okay. Again, the Odinist thing. Why do you frame RA? I don't see the Odinist thing at all. I haven't seen the pictures. I've seen people's descriptions of them. I've seen people, which I believe is an AI version of the picture that someone made and put out. So I think it's a pretty accurate picture of what they received. And I don't think you can get like Columbo to look at one picture and say, tell me what happened here. Well, I could tell you a couple things and I could maybe lead you down a path, but for one or two pictures, I don't think anyone could tell you anything, everything. You know what I mean? Like that's impossible. So, hey, I don't know why they were leaked. I don't know the reasoning. I'm understanding the scheme, if you will, and how it was piped out, but I don't know the intentions of it by the guy that did it from the defense. He was in his employ, so I don't know. It's interesting. You would think it's a defense tactic, right? He's not going to try to submarine his own buddy. They were still friends. I wouldn't think he would try to submarine Baldwin, but I don't know. A couple of things on the courtroom. I'm in the body language too. You don't need me to tell you this, but the judge was pissed. She was pissed when she came out. Rozzy was, we would call around here, shook. That guy was shaking. I don't think he expected to happen what happened. Baldwin knew he was in the jackpot because he brought his attorney in with him, but I don't think Rozzy knew maybe whatever was going to happen. I don't think he expected it. And again, Rozzy's on the defense team, but the leak was in Baldwin's shop. So, and then everyone says, oh, he whispered in the ear of Richard Allen's wife. No, he didn't. He gave him this big, let's get the fuck out of here, type of shit. And you could see that on video. So when he whispered in her ear, I watch him. He walks out and he's like, he wants to get out of there. You see Baldwin come through the door, head down, doesn't even look in the courtroom. How many lawyers do you know have ever walked past the courtroom and not looked in? So for the people that I watched, the attorneys, both sides of it said, yeah, they were going to get sanctioned. And I don't think Baldwin pushed these out. I really don't. I don't see what the advantage would be. Push these out and said, let's get these out into the public. Let's let everyone see them. But someone on his team did it. He didn't have the things locked up like they should have been. I just showed you one of the things that the judge put out and how strict it was. But now let me show you a quick video here I have about the Franks motion, and the prosecutor's podcast does an excellent job. And I know, yes, you're going to say, well, it's a prosecution podcast. Well, you're right. You're right. I watch the defense podcast too. That husband and wife team, and God, I wish I'd have wrote them down. Maybe someone could put it in chat. They have a really, really cool podcast also, but they're a prosecution or they're a defense team.
Sometimes rhetorically you do that when you argument.
Okay, let me make sure we are on the right thing here. And my man Brett on the left is going to, here we go. He's going to break down for you the Franks motion that was applied by Richard Allen's defense team. And from what I understand, it's still going to be heard in court because they filed. There's still going to be a ruling on it. But this is what he had to say about it. And I think he's very eloquent with it.
And I just want to say, people keep saying things that are true but don't apply to this issue. It is true that a defense attorney owes absolute loyalty to his client. It is true that a defense attorney has a constitutional responsibility to defend his client to the utmost degree. It is true that if there is a viable alternative argument, the defense attorney has a duty to make it. None of those things mean that this was the appropriate vehicle to do it in, that this should have been a public filing, that it should have included gruesome and graphic details of how the girls died, that the court hasn't even ruled on whether or not that's relevant and should come in, that it should have included the names of the alternative suspects, that it should have included the names of officers that it's accusing of lying, and not only officers, but also correctional officials. None of those things were required or even appropriate because of the duty of the defense. The defense will have an opportunity to present all of this at some point if they can back it up. And that's the other thing. Before the court is going to allow them to present this to a jury, the court is going to look at this and say, does this have any basis? You can write whatever you want. in a document. And as long as you're not literally making it up out of whole cloth, you're not going to get sanctioned for it. You're not getting in trouble for it. You can do that. But there is a process here, and the court is a gatekeeper and performs a gatekeeping function. And that keeps cases from turning into circuses. And that's what the defense is trying to do, is turn this case into a circus.
How the heck is this still playing? If you guys could still hear that or not, I have it muted and everything. Hold on a second. Can you guys still hear that? It's off the screen. Can you guys still hear her talking? No, I don't think you can. I can for some reason. I don't know why. Hold on. I'm gonna mute my computer. Now, if nobody kept playing there, I would think my house was haunted or something. I'm not even on the YouTube page anymore. I can still hear her in the background. So, okay. My volume's down, but my mic should be up. What do we got here? But anyway, so the gist of it now, again, they are prosecution people, so they're going to slant toward the prosecution a little bit. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, the Frank's motion was like a 12-page, maybe 10 to 12-page motion. All the other stuff was another way to get around the gag order and get the description of the crime out. Why do you want the description of the crime? It makes Richard Allen look even worse, because now you're finding details about what happened to these girls. And initially, at least, I thought most of the people didn't buy the Odinism angle. And I don't know what the general public thinks about it, because we're all in this like Delphi vacuum, right? And we know that maybe half the people, maybe more than half the people think it. Half the people think Richard Allen acted. It seems like there's a big chunk to believe in the Odinism thing. There's a big chunk to believe Richard Allen acted alone. And then there's kind of like a swath people, not sloth, but like a swath of people. And I consider myself there in the middle. Yeah, I think Richard Allen's involved, but I think other people involved. I don't think it was Odinism, but maybe someone wanted it to look like that. I don't know. That's possible. And I also think about what the way that the sticks, everyone said deliberately, it appears that they were in some kind of form or fashion for a reason. Were they trying to build some kind of thing and throw leaves on to make like a little blind or something to hide the girls? I thought about that. That's possible. But what's the end game there? What are you going to hide them there for forever? You're going to have a massive search going on. So I don't know. I just don't know about it. Flora Delphi connection, right? So I've been working in Flora pretty hard for probably what did it be now? Probably since maybe October 2021. Came on with my channel last year, and then I started really covering it here. But I would have said initially, there's no way Flora Delphi. There's no signatures that we know of at Flora. There's the MO's vastly different, and not to say that people couldn't do this, but usually people that burn, they don't burn to kill. They might burn to cover up other crimes, but they're not going to go from a knife attack to a house, an arson fire, most of the time. But now the more that I hear, and again, all the stuff that people are saying about Delphi, this cop lied, this and that. I'm not saying even police lied in Flora, but people lied in Flora. They lied in fucking reports. Guys, help us in Flora. Everything that you want in Delphi, or if you're just looking to say we want to point out bad cops, we can use your help in Flora. Not all of them, but there's a few. There's some shit that went down there that's wild. That's outrageous. It's outright outrageous. But personally, in order for this to be, we're setting up Richard Allen, you're going to have to almost go back 6 years with this setup. And it took 6 years for this to play out. Now, could you say that they picked and choose things from over time? Yeah. Well, then how did you just magically come upon Richard Allen? Then I would say after 6 years, if you didn't think he did it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show you. Hold on 1 second. Yes, because people have talked about this, and I think this will clear things up. Richard Allen didn't tell anybody. Yeah, he did tell someone. He told his buddy he was there, and I have the screenshot for it. Let me get to it here. I do want to show this to you guys tonight because I think it's pertinent and interesting. Let me just find it. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Actually, I think that one was maybe a by itself one. Again, read the order for the discovery. I mean, it's okay, here we go. Now, the guy's name is redacted on here, and I think we know what his name is. I'm not going to say it here. Channel 6, you need to let everyone know the man you talked to is released. He went to the police, and they released him. So what is he talking about here? What is he talking about? He's talking about the bridge photo. You need to let everyone know they talked to this man and released it. So this is a comment that was taken off of obviously a Facebook page. I've had this for a long time. I don't think anyone made this. I think this is a real photo with just the guy's name taken out. So he told him, yeah, I told him I was there, reported it, blah, blah, blah. So he reported it before he saw the picture. Okay. And we know that there was witnesses that actually reported what he looked like, except for, I think, the coat, before they saw the picture. I have that too, real fast. Let me give it to you before I get out of here. Oh, this is a Ron Logan thing. I also found this interesting too. We talk about Ron Logan. Let me say this. I don't think Ron Logan had anything to do with the commission of the actual crime itself during the crime. I don't think he had anything to do with the murder itself. Let me say that. So Logan said his cousin came to his house around noon. So Logan lied. He did lie for the driving also to the transfer station, or what we call here in Pennsylvania a dump. So this is from I actually got this off Fig's channel. This is off a narrative. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or not, but I thought that was interesting too. And like I said, I was telling everyone I'm digging up old stuff. I think there's a lot of good information in old stuff. Go back through your screenshots. The only thing that you kind of forget is, man, what is this? Why did I take this? I was even getting into sticks, talked about having sticks and stuff like that, cut. Here's the part about the video. We're able to listen to 2 minutes of audio from Libby's phone. Okay, this was out. This was an accepted thing early on. I don't know if you guys remember this. So they say, hey, there's 43 seconds. Yeah, we know there's 43 seconds on the bridge, right? But to me, there's got to be way more than that. There's got to be. Asking if the creepy guy was still following them. So in my opinion, yeah, there's more, and we don't know for sure. That's just an opinion or a guess, folks. That's not me saying I know for sure, because I don't. I really, really don't. Not in this situation, not one iota. But it's a guess that I have. And I kind of covered all the information that I wanted to share with you. And you've heard my theories before, why I come to that thought, why I come to those theories. I have 83 people in here, which is awesome. I think that might be the most I've ever had in a live. And I even did it without my buddy Ruckus. Anytime I have Ruckus on it, he fills the chat up, so to speak. So let's see what everybody's saying or doing. Oh, hi, Watha. I'm sorry. Whatever you got going on with you there. I see people are giving you prayer. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. Frosty. Dave is in the chat. Dave has a really cool football shows. I was able to talk to him for a couple of minutes talking last week. Dave, if you're in here, maybe sometime we come up, we can shoot the shit on the Steelers. Grace, I remember him saying that too. And I just, it's so wild. It's so wild because we don't know. I played the Kim Riley interview before in a live where he was like, it's as if this guy never committed a crime before. And Kim Riley, he's a treasure trove of information. The guy seems like a really cool guy. Probably be a good guy. I like to go to a football game, have a couple beers with. But when you put him in front of a camera, he kind of goes on, a little bit. Well, what would make you, why would you say that? It's like this guy never committed a crime. Did you have DNA? Did you run it? Did you have a hair? And did you run? What did you run? Probably DNA, right? So why would he say that? We've heard stories about crime or DNA being corrupted. Could that have happened? I certainly hope not, but it could have. But if that happened, LE should have jumped in front of that like a week later. Like, hey, listen, we had some DNA, but something happened. We got messed up, and own it. And own the mistakes that you made. I'd like to see them do that in Flora. Own your mistakes early on, and then I want to jump in. Yeah, well, the chargers are probably, but if you're going to access those phones, you're going to need to be able to charge them. My theory is those phones contain CSAM or something from the crime scene, as they would say, the headshot. I think LE is going to produce the headshot on Richard Allen. I really, really do. And again, I don't know, and none of us know unless we're on the prosecution team because of the November 1st deadline. But I think that they have the headshot, man. I truly do. I truly do. Why they're not arresting other people, Richard Allen's not talking, I don't know. I don't know. But if he's the guy that does this, and let's say he admits it, hey, I did it, whatever, blah, 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 I did it myself, I'll really be surprised. I'll really be shocked. I think that he had help after. I think you guys know that. Flash drive, yeah. And the flash drive's in a plastic baggie by itself. One of the things I learned with like the profiling thing and how people store shit matters. It tells you about people. You walk into someone's house and it's neat. It tells you a little bit about them. You walk into someone's house and there's just shit all over the place. Hey, come on in, have a beer, knock some magazines off and have a seat on the couch. It tells you something about people. So the way that people store stuff, and more importantly, where they store it, place of prominence, bedroom, prominent, most sacred place of your house. Whether you're single, whether you're married, anything, that's your area, that's your domain. That's where you go to sleep. That's very important to you. If you look at the pictures that you have in your bedroom right now, it's going to be some of the most important people in your life. Some of your favorite pictures, maybe that you have, pictures of your kids, pictures of your parents, whatever, your wedding picture, wherever you have it. It's going to be very important stuff. So I have a drawer full of old cell phones, junk drawer with who knows what else in it. They're all here. Then I have 2 Motorola flip phones. I guess also too that they're going to be burner phones, right? His phone, do we know that his phone was there? I think we know that his phone wasn't. He had a phone, but what phone was it? No one ever says that. Okay. No one ever says that. And I just think that something's off with those phones and he's going to be tied in to some pedophile ring online. Something on that's going to maybe, I don't know if that's how they got them here. I've theorized about Keegan Klein before. Guy maybe never knew the guy, maybe never met Richard Allen. Somehow they had some online communication or something, Bitcoin exchanged, who knows what, right? We don't know yet. And we're not going to know November 1st, Nick McClellan's going to come marching down the street with a trumpet reading, hey, this is what we got. He's going to give it to the defense. Whoever the attorneys are, they're going to review. It's going to take them time to get through it. You might not hear a rebuttal to them before Thanksgiving, maybe after Thanksgiving it might be. Unless they have the kill shot. And if they have the kill shot and they shot these guys, or whoever takes this over, and then you might hear there's negotiations going on. There's negotiations going on. So we'll see. That kind of ties me in here to one of the last things that I want to say before I go. You got all kind of comments. Always heard that too. The DC told the FBI. Yeah, that was a story. But Doug Carter, even though he's the superintendent, if you look at their flow chart or their incident command system, I don't think he would even have the power to do that. Even though he's up here, he's administratively up here. But there's a lot of investigative people that are above him as far as the know. There's probably 10 people that know more than he does about secret shit. He's like their politician, he's their figurehead, and that's just not with Doug Carter. That's any big state police organization. Honey B, what's up? Is Frank in here? I missed you, Frank. Frank the Tank, the document dude. I was going to be shocked. Yeah, well, I think that a lot of shocking things happened already, but I can go with you down that path, Grace, on maybe accomplices. Yeah, I can get you there. I think that I can see that. I think that there could be more than one. If there's two, maybe one isn't that shocking, but the other one, yeah. FBI one. Well, there was a sick FBI guy in the Indiana office. That is for sure. Yeah, Becky, Anna, and Mike that I know of have heard the audio. We were told they lost the video, but did they? Did they? I think there's been a lot of disinformation put out for a long time on this case, and I think it was the wrong move publicly. I mean, I think LE put out false information purposely during this investigation, and I think they're going to explain to you why they did it. And I think it was the wrong move. I think they should have gave all the information they had out. Now, the car, what do we know it looked like then? Now, the car is either a smart car, a PT Cruiser, or Herman Munster's fucking car, like the Comet. What? So 6 years, people forget stuff, man. Every day, people forget stuff. I think that they just screwed the pooch a little bit with how they handled it publicly and the information. They should have disseminated a lot more information, I think. Yeah, I believe that there is. In that tattoo shop, if I'm not mistaken, there was a search warrant served there too. I don't know if it had to do with Delphi or not. But yeah, so again, when people say that they believe the Odinist angle and there's all these little like similarities around it, I am not knocking you. I don't think it's crazy as some people think it is. I really don't. I don't think that's what happened, but I don't think that that's an off the wall theory. I really don't. Not in Delphi. Nothing's off the wall in Delphi. It isn't. It just isn't. That's possible too, Olivia. Yeah, I never really thought of that. Did it out of spite. I don't know if they're still friends or not. I'm not sure, but that's interesting to me. Just like, why would someone leak that? There again, the psychological aspect of it. What would I just don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. Well, if we're talking about the Nasser guy, he had a lot of friends. If you go furthermore, he ain't the first FBI guy that was involved well, there was others involved in child porn rings too. Nasser was involved in that, but he was involved at Nasser, and I forget the guy that ran the FBI. Retrieved and got damaged. I but see again, Frank, did the FBI say that? I know that we've heard that and other podcasts reported that. But the FBI, as tight ass as those dudes are, I don't know. It's possible. It's possible, but I don't know. Or one day when we're watching the trial, we're not going to play the FBI video which was taken from the quickie murder, whatever it was called, and like, oh shit, they got the video. It's Delphi, right? It happened. Thank you, Honeybee. Thank you for the crowd. Over 80 people. I think I had like 85 at one time, which is awesome. Defense attorneys, yes, that's a really good one too. That's a husband and wife. They're defense attorneys, so they slant things more to the defense, like the prosecutors, But it's watch both. They're all four very intelligent, very entertaining people. They run a good show. The husband and wife dynamic's funny at times. I enjoy it. I definitely enjoy it. Yeah, the prosecutors and the defense diaries. This is perfect. You have it right here. Ween maybe has it. Frank, the document guy. Frank's going to have some good information coming out here soon. He's putting stuff together behind the scenes. He called me yesterday. I called him back. I was working. Oh, yeah. Frank's been probably talking to her for almost 7 years. Oh, 2 years. Hiawatha, it has been. It's just and the setback. That's why I felt like we were deflated, like the air was taken out of our balloon. Everyone's balloon. The creators that hated each other, they all felt the same way. What? Because we thought we were going to have some kind of something. Okay, this is the next step. Now we'll look at the next step, we'll break it down, and then what's the next step after that? But all those steps that we took getting to this point, we now just back down, and now we're starting at the bottom, have to go back up again. Last name Odin, does that mean anything? I don't know. Or is that a name out there? Anyone the Randalls are very searchable. They can talk without discussing the case. Sometimes I lose the context of some of the comments. Ooh. Frank's all right, Dave. He gets some good information, a lot of it. I don't think Frank talks to her maybe a whole lot like about the case, but just like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Or you might even bounce stuff off of him. Question. And Frank answered like I should. Two good guys, though. Two good guys. All right. An hour and 22. Odin and Odin. I didn't know that. Yes. Well, I went down that path. There's a lot of there is white supremacist Odinist groups. That is real. Uh, I looked into them and I can't find white supremacists of any kind doing any kind of bloat or sacrifice. They kill a lot of people, especially in prison, more in prison than outside of prison. But there's been no, like I said, there's nothing related to Odinism sacrificially since I can find since the 13th century, including the white supremacist groups that hijacked, as the Franks alleges, that hijacked that. Um, how I don't know. It could have been made to look like that. The FBI said it was staged. Said it was staged. So yeah. Well, I don't think it was a ritual personally. Uh, if you want to say, or someone wants to say, not putting words in anyone's mouth, it looked like Odinism, or someone wanted it to look like Odinism, we can talk. We can go down that path because, yeah, I could certainly see that. The FBI going by stage. Am I putting too much in the wrong Logan warrant and on Agent Robinson and the FBI, Robertson? Maybe, like those are the pros. That's what they do. They see this stuff and they didn't think it was an Odinist thing. I'm not sure. Oh, Frank and Dave are okay. They're both good guys. Maybe they just don't see eye to eye. Yeah, yeah. That's another way to look at it too. And I forget who says it. I think Silky says it. She says it really, really good. She doesn't want to see an innocent man go to jail 15 minute walk away. So do we matter in that? YouTube? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Prime Night was cited in the motion. And I myself have tipped stuff in for Flora, and I'm sure a lot of you have. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing for anyone, YouTube creator or anyone that follows anyone in YouTube. If you think you have information for the police, share it. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. And they can say, "Hey, you're way off," or "Thanks," or whatever, or "Hey, you're out of your mind," or what are you smoking dope? Well, yeah, maybe I am. But that's a good thing. So yeah, we do matter. And remember, I say this to you guys all the time. How many creators are out there covering Delphi? I don't know. I could be way off with the number. But let's say that there's 1,000. There probably isn't. But let's say that there's 1,000 creators covering Delphi. If there's 1,000 creators covering Delphi, there's probably like 1,000,000 or 800,000 people or some crazy obscene number, maybe 500,000, maybe too high, 500,000. So that's where the voice is at. Everyone gets together. Hey, we got all this information. We're going to share this. We're going to share that. So again, we have our channels and we have our shows, and I love sitting here and talking to you and getting everybody's opinion and making me think. I wrote 2 things down already, things that people commented that I check on that made me think. Didn't find him the first night. Yeah, the drone that flew over. We use FLIR technology at work almost every day. I at least check my camera battery. I'll check it tomorrow as part of my truck check. FLIR, infrared, whatever you want to call it. We call it thermal imaging camera. And I tell you what can block that is paper and leaves. You're not going to see through. You can put paper up to it. Glass also does it. If you would put leaves over something, stuff like a papery material, it'll block the tick. It'll block the tick. I could see fire through a wall, but a piece of paper in front of it screws it up. Now, body wise, temperature wise, yeah, you 100% should have seen it. 100% if they were there, and if they weren't covered somehow, and you say, how could you cover them? Even if they were in the water, you would have seen them. Yeah, you would have seen them. You'd have been able to see that. As long as you were able to get in an angle where you were right above and like light wasn't shining through it, and they were not like 5 or 6 feet deep. If they were right on the edge or right underneath, you'd have been able to see it. So I don't have an answer for the first night thing. I know that there's people. They said there was people. There were actually firemen there. Hey, we searched this area, go away. One of the things that Ruckus said was him and Steve were down there at night, and he said if someone would have had a flashlight, everybody would have seen it. So that makes me wonder too. But could someone have still moved down there and moved bodies in the dark? I've never been there myself, so I can't really say. But I don't know. But I'm not 100% convinced that they ever crossed the creek either. I think ballpark with Delphi all on my own. I have a bunch of bits and pieces of things that there's like no one thing. But like, no one's ever officially come out and said that, right? No one. So I don't know. Is the private drive thing possible? Absolutely, it's possible. It's if I'm the guy that's doing that, and you got to think through their head. You'd probably rather have them there to run through the creek and go up that real steep bank that they had to get up. So I just don't know. I have ideas, but again, it's all theory. So I just want to tell everyone it's all theory. Other than stuff I showed you. But it was something people don't know which group. Well, I don't think it was any kind of sacrifice. I think it was a sadistic sexual homicide. Whether there was an assault done in SA or not, it does not matter. And it's still, I think that's going to be other times classified. They haven't officially classified it yet because it's still going through. I don't see. Yeah, I don't. And again, the other thing too is even the guy Major Click and the guys that said, hey, they did the Odinism report. Major Click has stated afterwards that he does not think it was Odinism, but he thinks that Brad Holder and those guys are involved. So why didn't in the Frank's motion? Why didn't they get with him and follow his theory out, leave the Odinism stuff out, and say, hey, look, these guys do think it was Holder and these other people. So no one in law enforcement ever thought it was a sacrifice. Not the law enforcement's always right. Not one single person in law enforcement. They represented the Frank's motion that the BAU thought that. The BAU didn't think that. They didn't think that because the FBI Robertson, Agent Robertson, consulted with them before she wrote the wrong Logan warrant. So why wouldn't she include that in there if that was the case? So that's where I go to with any kind of ritual, anything. To me, it's just not that. And it's not. And if you look, I actually downloaded the entire FBI ritual abuse of children thing. It goes back to like the 20s. It covers all the way up through Satanic Panic and into the early 90s and early 2000s. And I don't see that. I don't see it happening there. And then the other problem with it, besides the crime scene, is no one saw any of these people there. None of them. No one saw any of them. Holder, nobody. There was a sketch where that kind of goofy looking kid that some people say might be Elvis, but no one saw any of these people there. So that's my 2 cents on it. Well, you guys, you guys definitely are both entitled to your own opinions for sure. Both guys whose hearts are in the right place, I could say that. You can find some middle ground on that. Digital, what's up? I hope I answered everyone's questions to the best of my ability, whether you agree with me or not. Thank you. Marks and sticks made it bigger. Well, no, they did be something you want to take a picture of. I don't think that the sticks will win. I have 2 theories, and I'm not gonna be able to prove or disprove out. They were building some kind of some type of stem type canopy, they're called. You throw stuff, it's like a blind, you could hide stuff in the woods for a while. I think that's a possibility. Someone mentioned a old military making a gun. I think that was an interesting thing. I haven't researched a little bit, but I don't think that that's what happened either. I don't know. I don't know what the other reasoning would be for that. But they certainly don't look like they were thrown there. They were laid. If that makes sense. I think if you're throwing something, maybe they'd roll off. Or, why would you just put the stick throughout anything? If you've been doing something and been interrupted, or was it an ode to sacrifice? I don't think it was, but I certainly ain't going to tell you that it wasn't. I don't know yet. It doesn't seem like it to me. Psychology, criminology speaking, it's usually not the way those things happen, and they usually don't happen. Like I said, whether it was Odinism or true, whatever you want to call it, Odinism is what the defense puts. So that's why everybody's saying that, and I'm sure there's many sects within it, and I'm sure a lot of people that practice Odinism are really nice people, and they're probably pissed that, what are you bringing this up for? Information and spread the word on it. Do live, share people's lives that have it. Talk about it in Discord, get more people involved. Listen, tell them if they want to see fucked up, they come over to Flora, right? The Delphi, there could be a lot of things fucked up in Delphi. There could be. I know that there is in Flora. Come over and just read the things. Read what happened. Read how they put out the initial. Dennis Randall put out the initial cause for the fire on a Saturday morning after he was. I mean, you could just go on the way Galen was treated, the way they investigated that because those kids were black. Period. You'll never change my mind about that. Never, never, ever, ever. But appreciate any help you can give, and so do misappropriated North culture. Yeah, and that's Christianity too. There's sects of Christianity that they've taken Christianity's principles and warped them too. Absolutely. People in town knew Ron Way was there. I don't know. I'm not tied into the town stuff. I'd love to know what they think. I'd love to really know what people think about Flora too, but I don't have that. I don't have that tie-in. Yeah, and you know what? If you watch the rest of that prosecutor's podcast, and they said, "Well, they're going to have Dolan on the stand, the defense, whoever the defense is, and they're going to start ripping him apart with the time." And they're going to say, "Well, do you remember him telling you 7 years ago that he told you he was there at 3 o'clock or 2:30?" And of course, Dolan can't say he actually remembers that. He can say, "No, I wrote it down on a piece of paper." Well, how often do you write your reports down? So when they get to court, that could be something that's done in and out of that way. But is there more corroborating evidence? Is there more corroborating evidence? Could he not have his regular cell phone? I don't know. We don't know these things yet. But that is a good point. That's going to be a point of contention. Both attorneys have pointed that out. Any needling you can do on the times and rip things apart like that is good to do. So the police investigators, they're going to get hammered on the stand about times and things like that. Yeah, well, I've been wrong. I've had a bunch of POIs. I'm glad I never really put them out there. Although one of them kind of stuck around. Maybe an after the fact POI, but it would take. Carl's probably afraid of the group. Well, what did I just read a story about? Well, it wasn't a group, but it was a guy cooking meth in a cemetery, and he had pushed was it Weber, the Weber lady, and she went and got Ron Logan, and Ron Logan came down and supposedly defended her or whatever. But you know, Ron Logan had his faults, right? He had issues with women, and who knows whatever happened there. Guy drank like a fish. But he's 21 years old. You know, he drank and drove. He shouldn't have done that, but uh, I don't know. But it's possible that he could have been afraid if this group had that kind of power. You know, he's an older guy. He's probably being tough and rugged. You know, how many guys you going to take down at your age? It's going to be tough. Leak the confession. No, the prosecution. The first we heard of that, as far as I know, was in court. Uh, Nick McClellan said it. I'm almost sure of that because where was I watching it at? Because he said that everybody took a collective look. What? I believe I didn't hear it on the murder sheet. I think it was the first time it was in court, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, Grace. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. I love when people make me think too. I said two things that I'm going to look out, check up tonight. So I'm glad he came in tonight. Brandon Woodhouse stated that SC and SC have been recorded at the special. Yeah, well, Brandon Woodhouse, Snark is someone that I wouldn't believe anything came out of the guy's mouth. Nothing. And one of the other things at Woodhouse that's a big misconception is that he didn't win any money. His case was thrown out. He either dropped his case or it was thrown out. So again, it doesn't mean that Nazis are liars. It doesn't mean that. You might have some honest Nazis. Brandon Woodhouse is a Nazi. A Nazi tattoo on the chest. So I tend not to want to believe him, but then I hear him talk and I don't. So personally, anything that he would say, I'm just not going to, entertain. Not because he's a Nazi, because I listen to what Westfall says. And Westfall's not a Nazi, but he's whatever he is. I don't know what he calls himself. I believe Westfall more than Woodhouse. I don't believe a lot that Woodhouse says. Yeah. Well, like I said, if you're talking about the thing that Dave asked before, I believe the first time any of us heard that was in court. I could be wrong. I thought the first time I heard it was in court when I was watching it because I was like, "Oh, what? Holy shit!" When we read, or you know what, the murder sheet might have shared that. Remember, they were in court and they wasn't live and there was no cameras, and people would be texting stuff or Twitter. Listen, he's like I'm fucking 100 years old. Tweeting stuff. That's the first time I think that I heard that. So maybe everyone's right there. You know what I mean? Maybe the murder sheet did report it first. I'm not sure. But I thought McClellan said it in court because that's what everyone was like, what? Holy hell. I believe they're confident too, and I hope it's for a reason. I do, but I think that the way they carry themselves is, I hope they're good. I hope they are. I hope they have it. I hope he's the right guy. And the tentacles. I think that there's tentacles, and they all need to be brought in, whatever they are, whatever varying things people did, whether other people put hands on or whether it was things after. Uh, they all got to come in. I find it very interesting that he's not talking, and assuming there's other people, because RA doesn't strike me as like a stand-up type person. I struggle with that too, Kel. He seems like a kind of person to me that would roll over like a warm puppy dog. I'll tell you who it was or whatever. So that bothers me too. There's times I think that he snitch already. We're going through the process. I don't think that's the case because they would have brought him in there, or whoever they were, unless they're out looking for him, right? I don't know. I don't know. That's a very good point, though. There's people attempting to direct the narrative. But you got to understand that the prosecution and defense always want to steer a narrative. That's normal. That's the art of war a little bit there. So they want to get some, not information, but make it look like, oh, he's way guilty. And the defense, oh, he's definitely not guilty. And then what we have when we come to YouTube is people that have, maybe they picked a POI out, maybe they've named them, and they continue to double down and say, oh, this guy, they didn't pick the guy that I thought it was. So everyone in law enforcement's corrupt. Everything's corrupt. Everything's messed up. And they'll stick to the POI. You have other people that are pro law enforcement. Whatever they do, cops said it, so it's right. So we can't argue with that. You have other people that say anything the cops do is wrong. Everyone that's arrested is always wrong. And then there's like a group of people who I like to consider myself in. It kind of like weaves our way through. Like, well, I thought this yesterday, but maybe today. I don't know, and it's hard. This case is just so unique. It's just so unique. Another state, the prosecution team laughed out of the courtroom. I don't know. I don't know that much about attorneys, or I'm just learning a whole lot about motions and stuff like that, mainly from this case. So I can't really speak to what other people would have done there. I know that the attorneys that are having podcasts now on YouTube are laughing at Baldwin because of what happened. But actually, more because of the Franks motion than the leak. He's taken more heat from other attorneys because of the Franks motion than the leak, which I find kind of fascinating too. Isn't the leak way worse? But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll get our day in court, and we'll see if these guys can handle it. There's certainly a small office with him and Shane Evans doing all this work. So you're not going to see a prosecution like you would in Los Angeles, New York City, where they have this big giant team of people and stuff like that. So that could certainly be a hindrance to them. And I don't know how many cases McClellan's handled, big cases, if any. Like this. It's certainly going to be the biggest one of his life. Has he prosecuted a murder before? I haven't looked into that. I don't know. So Steve says BG is 6 foot tall. I'm bad with the eyes. I cannot help anybody with any pictures. If you think this is real, can you see this? I can't see anything in it. I always find it fascinating that somebody couldn't, NASA or somebody couldn't figure BG's exact height by figuring out the measurement of a railroad tie. How big's the railroad tie? And then from that railroad tie, I'm going to say, scale it out, and I'll be able to figure the exact height out. I was always very surprised by that. So you could be very well right at 6 feet tall. don't think you're Mr. Steve, because I think Mr. Steve went down there, and I think he said something similar too. I think he thought he was about 6 foot tall too, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, could be wrong. What do you think you let them get away with so far? Being the prosecution, I don't know what the prosecution did wrong so far. I see that a lot that the defense did as far as court maneuvering. I haven't seen it. And again, if you watch that podcast, I'll share it. The prosecutors, they do a very good job of explaining the Frank's motion, what you need to be able to do it. Competence and malfeasance. Competence doesn't count. Malfeasance does. So if they're just idiots, you won't get a Frank's hearing. You have to prove that they lied. The burden of proof to prove that they lied is extremely, extremely high. So it's an unlikely hearing to get on average. So I don't know if it'll happen now or not. I would assume it won't because of everything that's gone down. But I don't know. I don't know where we go from here legally. I don't know what she names people, what they do. Do they just carry on what was going on in court? I guess we're going to find out on Halloween yet again. On Halloween. Tech Death Hippie, what's up? Olivia. Yeah, I was mentioning that before. That's an Indiana thing now. I don't know what all states are, but Indiana, you only have 10 days. You have to turn everything over in 10 days before the trial. Unless the judge puts a thing in there like Judge Gall did here for November 1st. So when I was belaboring my point about nobody has all the evidence unless you're on a prosecution team. The defense doesn't even have all the evidence. So how can we say, oh, they don't have anything on them? Maybe from what you've seen so far, they don't have anything on them from the stuff that's been released. If you say that, I'm cool with that. Okay, I get it. Because I don't think what's been released is enough to convict him. I think they have the kill shot. I honest to God think that they have the kill shot. But let me finish up here. This has been an awesome live. I appreciate everyone's interaction. You guys have been great. I'm at 85. I was almost at 90 people before, which is fucking incredible for me. A couple things at the end. Again, I started with supporting the families. I personally haven't seen the families any proof from anyone that they've been involved. You guys know my email, kevlar148hotmail.com. They've been investigated. I don't see it. So, give them their piece. Now, if something happens, and this is in the November 1st thing, it goes back to that, maybe there is something with them in there. I don't know. Maybe there's an investigative angle. Maybe they looked at them. They're holding it back. Maybe I'll come on here and say I was wrong, but I just don't see it as far as that goes. So give the family a break. They're going to be finicky sometimes and rough around the edge. They get cameras poked in their face. So, but again, if anyone had anything on the families, I believe that goes for cops, YouTubers, neighbors, residents, everyone else. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is something. It's a sad thing, but it's something that I'm pretty confident is going to happen. And the Delphi debate's never going to die. It is never going to die, no matter how this is adjudicated. If Richard Allen says, I did it, I acted alone, I'm sorry, there'll be people that say, no, he was made to do it. If Richard Allen gets found not guilty, the police arrest someone else, and he says, I did do it, I'm sorry, I did do it, there'll still be people that say, no, Richard Allen did it. There'll be people that say that there's a conspiracy that involves, 20 to 30 law enforcement agents from multiple agencies, and no matter what happens, they're all involved on it. These guys lied. And for whatever reason, this case in particular is just not honest. So if you watch YouTubers and you wonder, hey, why do they feel this way about Delphi? Watch how they cover other cases. Are they doing the same thing they're doing with Delphi, or are they looking like each case by case? Because some people, it's all the police that are right. All the police are wrong. They arrested every wrong person. Every day, every arrest is wrong. Good for people to go back and forth. Hey, the cops fucked up over here. Over here, they did okay. I don't think they were wrong here. Use your heart, use your noodle to judge. A lot of people do a lot of really good videos. They have a lot of good lives, a lot of good crowd interaction. And, there's been a debate. People were making money and this and that. Should they be doing this and that? Hey, at the end of the day, it's your channel. And as a creator, you spend a lot of time. I spent about 2.5 hours getting ready for this tonight because I really wanted to be prepared. And no one owes me any money or anything like that for it. But if there's people to do a couple hours a night or do this quite a bit, it's going to take up a lot of their time. And if people want to throw them a couple bucks for it, uh, I don't know. I have some friends that I think I feel opposite in that regard there, but that's okay. So I'll read your comments as you leave them. Anybody on a replay, thank you to everyone. Like I said, I almost had 90 people here, which would have been a new Coach Kev record. Thanks to the commenters, thanks to the lurkers, thanks to everyone, thanks to the people that challenged me. Thanks to he gave me a couple things. I'm assuming you're a guy. You could be a woman. I don't even know. I don't even know people's real names. That I know, much less people on YouTube. They gave me a couple things to think about. Who else? Grace. I wish I'd have wrote your name. We have a bunch of things here. I'm gonna check out. So it's about 11:20. I'm back at work tomorrow. Beautiful weather here in Pittsburgh. It was 75 today, and the guys were busy as hell today. We did another Coach for Kids, so we're gonna be busy as shit tomorrow. I know it, but hey, I'm not gonna complain because I turned my heat off, and my arthritis feels good. So again, thank you to everybody. I hope I made you think a little bit. A lot of you made me think, and I'm thankful for that. And if you're catching the replay, drop something. Let me know what you think. And again, the video that I showed tonight was the updated video. I screwed up the first video and put, in my quotes there, I put the wrong thing. So if you're going to watch one, watch the second one if you go back and watch it. And just keep the families in mind, unless you think they did it, which I don't see. Sorry, I just don't see any evidence of it. No one's produced any, and I'm sure they would have by now. That's my 2 cents on that. So thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night, garbage night. You take the garbage out. And I will talk to everybody soon. I'll be back here probably pretty soon. I like to get with a couple of people and maybe do something, do a live together with some of the Delphi local or some of the people that are kind of longer than me. So we'll make it happen for you folks. So before we go, we'll say Doug Carter, tentacles. If you're new to the channel, every time someone says tentacles, you're supposed to drink, whether you have booze or not. And I think that there is tentacles. I think that there's at least 2 more. We'll see. As long as they get the job done. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great night. I love the conversation from everybody. Coach Kev, out.